In 2017, Guerrilla Games released their first IP since 2004's Killzone, open-world RPG Horizon Zero Dawn. With the game's sequel Horizon Forbidden West on the way, and with 5 years between the two games, unless you've set aside 45 hours to finish the game in its entirety before February 18th, then you may need a quick recap on the story so far. Well, never fear, we've got you covered. I'm Ashton from TripleJump, and here's everything you need to know about Horizon Zero Dawn before you play Horizon Forbidden West. Before we jump into the events of the game, let's go over some backstory. In the 21st century, businessman Ted Faro and his company Faro Automatic Solutions employ mega genius Dr. Elizabeth Sobek. And that's fact, not just our opinion. They begin work on an environmentally friendly robot system after the Earth is rocked by a series of huge natural disasters caused by climate change. As his company grows and their technology develops, Ted decides to expand into hostile technology and begins developing automated defense systems for the world's military, causing Sobek to leave the company. Faro Automated Solutions releases the Chariot line. The company creates and begins marketing 3 new machines which have the ability to consume biomass and exponentially replicate both themselves and other killer machines, creating swarms. Faro demands these machines have almost impossible to break encryption protocols installed, with no backdoor and no remote access possible, to prohibit anyone from trying to hack them. In 2064, a glitch of unknown origin sends the message to all of the Faro machines to stop responding to commands and destroy all personnel, aka all humans. The swarm now grows exponentially and eventually consumes all biomatter and overrun the planet. This becomes colloquially known as the Faro Plague. In a panic, Ted asks Dr. Sobek to analyse the data, and upon doing so, she discovers that there is truly nothing that can be done to stop the swarm and save the human race. They now have only 15 months to try and create a future for humanity before Zero Day, aka the end of the world. Sobek blackmails Ted Faro into funding Project Zero Dawn, her repopulation project. As Sobek begins working on Zero Dawn, Far Zenith heads up a separate fight for human survival in the form of Odyssey, a spaceship equipped with storage of 200,000 zygotes destined to recolonize another planet to save the species. In 2065, however, Sobek sends a message stating that after a catastrophic failure, the Odyssey has been lost, leaving Zero Dawn as humanity's only hope. As the world around them comes to an end, Sobek and a group of designers begin developing a series of programs designed to activate once they reach Zero Day, all led by hyper-intelligent AI, Gaia. The important ones in our story are Hephaestus, creating the machines used for terraforming the destroyed world, like the Glint Hawk and Strider, Eleuthia in charge of growing the new humans and raising the infants, Minerva, tasked with cracking the Faro robots' deactivation codes, Apollo, in charge of educating the new human life on everything that's happened up to the point of Zero Day, and Hades, serving as a reset button, if you will, wiping out life all over again and letting Gaia start afresh should Gaia notice anything wrong with their attempt of repopulation. These programs are completed and the Zero Dawn team retreats safely into Gaia Prime, the central hub for Zero Dawn and the only place functioning after Zero Day. With life on Earth almost completely wiped out, the Faro Plague no longer has any fuel to sustain itself, and thus the machines go dormant, waiting for a signal of life. The team, however, runs into a series of deadly issues. As the designers continue to work on Zero Dawn, the world outside becomes completely uninhabitable, with the air unbreathable and the environment completely destroyed. The only way to exit the bunker and survive is by wearing a fully armoured environment suit. Whilst working on Gaia, a door to Gaia Prime is broken, and the only way to close it is to leave someone stranded outside. As the developers argue who is to go, Elizabeth Sobek silently leaves and seals the door, stranding herself outside, but allowing the rest of the designers to continue working. After she leaves, she walks to her family ranch. Her suit runs out of power and she peacefully passes away. Having lost his mind in his personal bunker, Ted Faro decides that humanity, when they repopulate the Earth, should be pure and have no knowledge of what's happened. He purges Apollo's database and murders everyone in Gaia Prime to stop them from reactivating it. At some point in the 24th to 30th century, Gaia activates the repopulation protocol and humans are being raised. But with Apollo having been erased, the humans are sent out into the new world with absolutely no idea what's happened. They begin to form tribes and teach each other how to survive over the course of many years. In 3020, Gaia receives a mysterious signal, sending the other programs into chaos as they become self-aware. Hades itself realizes that its main function is to destroy humanity and begins reactivating some of the killer machines. Gaia makes a decision to self-destruct in an attempt to stop Hades. However, as she does this, Hades and the other programs escape into the world, Hades finding a home with the curious and jaded Silence. More on him later. As Gaia dies, she sends one last command to Eleuthia, to gestate one more human using the exact genetic code of her creator and friend, Elizabeth Sobek. And so Aloy, a genetic clone of Sobek, is born. Now at last, on to the game itself. The Eleuthia facility has become home to the Nora tribe, a highly traditional matriarchal tribe focusing on hunting and gathering and following the guidance of the All-Mother, who is technically just the door to the gestation facilities. Aloy is found as a crying baby outside of the door, some High Matriarchs believing she's a gift from the All-Mother, and other High Matriarchs believing her to be a bad omen from a metal devil. The decision is made to approach Rost, an outcast shunned by the tribe. He agrees to raise her and teach her to hunt, gather and survive in this world. As a child, Aloy stumbles down a hole and finds herself in one of the many ruins of the old civilization, during which she finds a focus, a small device that allows her to interact with the technologies of the old civilization. As she grows, Aloy wants to find out more about who she is, and specifically who her mother is. Rost begins training her for the Proving, a tradition in the Nora tribe in which young adults can compete in an incredibly difficult tournament to be awarded the status of Brave, aka Soldier, and ask the matriarchs anything they wish. As Aloy wins her first Proving, the Nora are attacked, and everyone competing with her is killed by the invading cultists, as is her adopted father, Rost. Aloy learns the Proving massacre has occurred due to the cultists seeing her via the focus worn by someone not of the Nora tribe. Once she recovers from her injuries, the Nora settlement is once again attacked, this time by a long unseen Pharaoh machine, the reanimated body of one of Pharaoh's chariot line machines, the Scarab. Once it's defeated, Aloy is granted the role of Seeker by the High Matriarchs and leaves All-Mother's embrace and heads into Kaja land. The Kaja have a checkered past, to put it lightly. They are a sun-worshipping tribe built on the back of merchants and slavery. When we meet them in Horizon Zero Dawn, the Kaja are engaged in a civil war between the Sun Kaja, ruled by Sun King Avad and living in the city of Meridian, and the Shadow Kaja, those who supported previous monarch Hiran, the Mad Sun King, who, post-Gaia explosion, began the Red Raids, pillaging other lands and committing human sacrifices to appease what he believed to be a displeased sun. And that sun as in the sky. The Shadow Kaja are even more splintered after Silence, you know, the guy who's carrying around murderous AI Hades, uses Hades to create the Eclipse cult. He encourages the cultists to unearth buried Pharaoh machines and use them to take over Meridian, ultimately giving Hades the vessel needed to destroy humanity once again. Because of her focus and a little bit of natural genius, Aloy has the ability to override machines, making them rideable or even making them fight against other machines. As Aloy explores and delves into the past, we meet another one of our tribes, the Oseram. Experts in smithing weapons and gadgets, the Oseram are synonymous with coal and metal. The most important Oseram we meet in Horizon Zero Dawn is Erend, the new captain of the Oseram Vanguard, given the title after his sister Ursa was killed, according to him, by the Eclipse. Erend and Aloy investigate the murder and discover machine sites where Eclipse members are digging up and reviving corruptors, or scarabs. We discover Ursa was murdered by Erend's own people, and their leader Derval intends on murdering every Kaja, starting by destroying the city of Meridian. A plan our fantastic Aloy and Erend put a stop to. So let's talk about Silence. Once Aloy discovers what the Eclipse are doing, there is a mysterious voice talking to her via her focus. That's Silence. Silence pretends to be a friend to Aloy, knowing the power she holds and finding out more information about the society and downfall of the old ones. Upon finding out that Apollo was wiped, he decides to do anything, and I mean anything, to find the knowledge that was stolen from him. Silence leads Aloy to various ruins of the old civilization, and being Sobek's genetic clone, she's able to access data information that Silence has been unable to. When Aloy allows him to find out more about their past, Silence reveals that he is working with the Eclipse and that they are based at Sunfall, which just so happens to be built on the orbital launch base, the birthplace of Project Zero Dawn. As she enters the facility under Sunfall, the Eclipse are alerted and capture Aloy, and sends her into the Gladiator Arena, but not before letting her know they've ordered an attack on the Nora. Silence saves her, though let's be real, she definitely could have gotten out of there alone. Silence even gives her a new focus before they leave one another. Aloy discovers more about Gaia Prime under Sunfall and finds the codes to grant her entry to the facility she was born in. She then travels all the way back to All Mother's Embrace, the Nora homeland. Aloy saves the Nora tribe from the Shadow Kaja and heads into Luthia to try and find some answers. She learns how this iteration of humanity came to be, and most of the lore I gave you at the beginning of the video, including her being a clone. She learns what she must do to stop Hades. Go to Gaia Prime and get the override module. Aloy is heartbroken to say the least, but decides to accept what she has been told and heads off to destroy Hades. Hades itself has been plotting to reactivate the machines and begin the new plague. Aloy and all the allies she's made along the way ready themselves for a fight, using Meridian as a front line to stop Hades. And of course, like any good video game hero, the battle sways in Aloy's favour and Hades is defeated. Or so we believe. Aloy travels to the Sobek family ranch and finds Dr. Elizabeth Sobek, a woman who, despite almost 1,000 years passing between them, she views as her mother, dead peacefully on a bench. But before we roll our end credits and thank the developers, Silence and Hades have one more trick up their metaphorical sleeves. One tiny remnant of life left in Hades' core travels like a moth to a flame to our friend Silence, and I will use that word incredibly loosely. Let's not forget about the game's DLC, The Frozen Wilds. The Banuk, an insular tribe focused on spirituality and communion with machines, inhabit the freezing lands of the Cut. Aloy and members of the Banuk tribe infiltrate a facility designed to stop the volcano at Yellowstone erupting. They find that Hephaestus, one of Gaia's subsystems, is living in the facility and sending out more and more violent machines in an attempt to stop humans from harvesting its creations. Cyan, a highly advanced AI, assists the humans in getting past Hephaestus' defences and providing some additional information to Aloy regarding the old world, warning her that Hephaestus is in fact still alive somewhere. So, the Forbidden West. As far as we know of the story of Forbidden West, we join Aloy 6 months to a year after the events of the first game. She ventures off towards the Pacific coast to discover the cause of a new biological plague that is infecting land, life and water, also known as the Blight. We reunite with some familiar faces, including the Oseram Captain Errand and Nora Brave Val, and head to the Forbidden West where, and I quote, "War is the rule, peace is the exception." Gaia, or a form of Gaia given what we know about her, that being that she is dead, returns to assist and warn Aloy that she will find the answer she is looking for, but there are other parties searching for them as well. Whilst exploring the Forbidden West, we meet some new tribes. The Utaru, the tribe inhabiting the lands of Plainsong, are seemingly peaceful and focus on agriculture and the circle of life. They believe that their dead return to the soil, nourishing the earth and allowing them to be remembered in the crops they harvest. The Tenakth are the ruling power of the Forbidden West, with a reputation for being vicious and bloodthirsty. Even within lore in the game, we know very little of the Tenakth tribe, other than their attempts on the Kaja throughout history. The Tanakh value strength and demonstrate this through often violent means, including kidnapping children to grow their tribe. Rumours have circulated that the Tanakh are also cannibals. These tribes, along with the Oseram, form a flimsy peace as a new force threatens their land. Regala and her rebels, a deadly tribe of machine riders with similar overriding capabilities to Aloy and the Eclipse. And there, in the background fueling their power with even more brutal machines and technology, is our pal, Silence. And then there's Tilda, a character we haven't seen before and possibly the biggest mystery for Horizon fans. With a name more common with the old ones and an outfit unlike anything we've ever seen before, could she be an inhabitant of the lost colony ship the Odyssey, one of the caretaker droids from Eleuthea's birthing hubs, or maybe just another hologram? We will just have to wait to find out on February 18th.